Why did you finally leave the church?
I was ashamed of my own stupidity, of how I could have been so purposely blind for so many years.
Paul Haggis is the Oscar-winning writer and director of Crash, and the most famous Scientologist to ever leave the church and speak out publicly.
Did Scientology help you early on?
Yes, it did. I think it's like picking up any really good self-help book. You're going to get something out of it.
How do they convince people to be loyal?
It's just this long, slow walk towards believing. It's the idea of being part of a group that is ostracized and hated. It bands you together against the outside world.
But then, after more than 30 years in the church, the outside world came crashing in. Haggis began to wonder what his church really stood for, and for the first time began his own research.
I went, oh my God, is this really happening?
He learned of allegations of abuse at the highest levels of the church from a series of articles in the St. Petersburg Times, stories of physical violence and involuntary confinement. Haggis was particularly shocked when he read allegations on anti-Scientology websites of children made to work 12 to 16 hours a day.
It's horrible treatment these kids had. Terrible. They're made to work so often and so, all day long in these terrible conditions.
The church denies any of this abuse happened. They say Haggis's investigation was a sham and that there is no record, no police reports, no medical records, no photos to support these allegations. The church also says it adheres to all child labor laws.
When you left the church, you described it as an act of treason.
Yes, it was a treasonous act. If you have an enemy who's declared himself an enemy, that's a bad thing. But if you have a friend who's then stabbed you in the back, that's worse. And that's what they claimed I did, and that's actually what I did.
In retrospect, Haggis says he was never a true believer. For his heresy, the church has labeled him the hypocrite of Hollywood and says he has not been an active member for years.
Is Scientology a cult?
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. It's a system of belief that, I mean, you've got all these folks inside this fortress who won't look out and won't look at any criticism and can't bear any investigation and think that everyone is against them. How would you describe that? It's a cult. Of course it is.